actually happened was I applied to 79 companies. I was so excited. I was, just sending them out. And I only heard back from PwC, and I had the interview and still did not make it. And I think it came down to my visa status. And, getting all those rejections was very difficult because some of the companies that I applied to were not, they were not like top 100. I was like just applying. So it was very, very difficult. And also coming from UCID, where almost everyone gets a clerkship or an internship. It was a hard pill to swallow. But I think that from that experience, I just kind of had to take a step back and reassess what I wanted out of life. Like what was I applying to these jobs for? Did I really want to practice law? Who did I, was this part of my bigger picture? And I think, having those rejections for someone else, they could have been life crushing, and I'm not going to lie and say, didn't hurt my ego and that I wasn't, bruised and a little insecure after that. But I would say that it did allow me to think about myself in a different way and to get creative about what I really wanted out of life.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there that I guess the easy option following that experience would have been, to blame other people and to say, oh, it's, not my problem. It's something to do with, their application process, their criteria for who they hire, and to essentially deflect responsibility in that respect. For me, I've definitely been guilty of that before. And I think, all of us have to some extent resonated with that, with those sentiments. But I mean, for you, like, although you were disappointed and disheartened initially, you had a different approach. You didn't really let that define, how you moved going forward. Instead, you mentioned on a previous podcast that you realized that something was missing. And, you essentially took responsibility over how you moved forward. So following that experience, how did that change and shape the way you interacted professionally and networked, for example? How did that change your approach?
That's actually a really good question. I think that, that process made me realize that I was not going to get a job the traditional way. Well, of course I could apply, but it wasn't going to be as straightforward as it is for, people who do have the visa status or who do have the networks already. And, I'm not Australian. I don't have family here. And so I was like, what do I need to do? And I started networking and networking more aggressively. So throughout last year, I would like talk to people on the, virtually. I would have like 3 virtual coffees a week, sorry. And that was made easier by the fact that, we are in a pandemic. So it was so easy to get like really great people and talk to them about their experiences and how they got into law. And I actually ended up getting an interview at KPMG. I got an interview at Sprint Law. And I think I got a third one. I just don't remember where, but, I would never have gotten those interviews had I not actually, gone through the process of like, hey, can you tell me about your experience? What do you think I should do? Do you think I'm on the right path? What was your experience? And hearing other lawyers, like established lawyers, some of the biggest firms, like my mentor,